talking to me today. How are you?
I am. I'm very good. We're almost at Christmas, so that's exciting. It's been stormy overnight, but yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm happy to have Christmas as well. I'm waiting for
Yeah.
my Christmas gift. So that's the most exciting thing of all.
Yeah.
Jamie Marsland is the head of YouTube for Automattic. And he is going to talk to us today about his work as a YouTuber. He first started with his own YouTube channel, and he came from having a very small channel to have today 210K of subscribers. How do you get there?
A lot of hard work. No, I mean, and I've only really been doing YouTube properly for about 4 years, I guess. So even though I've had the channel a long, long time, I started it originally for my plugin business, and I created some videos to advertise the plugins that we built. And kind of they stayed on the channel for a long time, and actually some of those got a lot of views, like over 100,000 views, mostly around WooCommerce. But then about 4 years ago, I started to create educational content, and that's my background in WordPress. Trained a lot of people in WordPress, about 5,000 people face to face, as part of the business I had prior to joining Automattic. I used to trundle around the country and train people face to face in rooms with groups of people, about 10 to 15 people. 2 courses a week, all around the UK, teaching beginners, agencies, all sorts of people, corporates, how to use WordPress and how to build sites with WordPress. So I had a kind of deep knowledge in my DNA of how to teach people WordPress. And then it was a question of, it's quite easy for me then to kind of bring that onto video content, because I kind of done all the hard work and all the leg work over 10 years face to face with people. And so I kind of naturally know the pain points people have when they're using software like WordPress, and I'd come across them, all the time. And I understood what people were trying to do with WordPress and the challenges that people were having, but also the incredible, once they got over a few barriers and a few hurdles, it was genuinely life-changing for lots and lots and lots of people coming on the courses, whether they were starting a new business or starting a new career or moving on in their own organizations. So it was an incredible experience to see the transformation that WordPress would have on people's lives. So I had a deep love of WordPress, a deep love of training people WordPress. And then it was really just a question of translating that to video content. And then I kind of fell in love with YouTube and the process of creating videos, which is a very unique process, especially YouTube. It's a very unique thing to try and be good at. So I became completely obsessed around WordPress and video content and storytelling, and I kind of went from there. So the channel grew relatively quickly in the 4 years. And then last year, I got approached by Matt Mulloway to come and help out at Automattic to kind of take their video content to the next level. So that's what I've been working on this year. And it's been an incredibly fascinating journey. So that's kind of a potted history of sort of how I got to this point in terms of YouTube.
Yes, normally when you speak to people like you that have a very nice channel, people think that this is something you do like immediately, that it doesn't take time. And when I go to your YouTube channel, I saw that you started 11 years ago, and then your first YouTube video was just you explaining things. We couldn't see your face or nothing. You were just explaining straight what you were saying. And then you started incorporating your images, and you changed completely the face of your video. When did you decide to do that?
I didn't really. It just kind of naturally happened. If you go back 4 years when I kind of started it, properly, it is my face. But I think they're terrible. But I've left them up there. But the quality is pretty horrific. So I think you just got to. One of the big lessons I've learned with YouTube is you've just got to commit to at least 1 video a week as you're ramping up. If you and be prepared for a lot of failure, and be prepared that you're not going to think they're perfect, but the commitment is everything, because that sort of cadence of creating video content just makes you better at the craft. You improve all the time. And for me, it wasn't so much, I mean, the technical stuff has got better in terms of the camera I've got is better now, and the audio is better now. But the thing I'm kind of most interested in improving is the script writing and the storytelling within the videos, and how I'm kind of obsessed around that bit, the structure. So in terms of the video that I make, all the work really is done in the prep work for the video. There's like the tiny bit at the top is the actual making of the video and the gear. Most of my effort, sort of 95% of my effort, goes into thinking about the concepts, plotting the storytelling within the video. I mean, it might sound a bit strange for like I'm showing you how to create a tutorial, but I'm kind of obsessed with making them as short as possible, but getting the information across in the simplest way in the shortest space of time. So it's not just me rambling on with talking. I'm obsessed around respecting people's time, and because I respect my own time, so I should respect other people's time. So I'm obsessed with trying to make the best content in the shortest possible time, that so people can get the most value out of the videos without having to sit down for hours and hours to watch them. So I've spent a huge amount of thinking time, like most of my life, really, weekends, nights, mornings, thinking about video content, not doing it, but thinking about it and plotting it. So that's what I'd advise people to do. Have a cadence, but also think deeply around the storytelling and actually what messages you're trying to get out. And we can dive into a bit more on that in terms of my process, but that's kind of the philosophy behind. That's the bit that I enjoy most, really.
Also, you have a deep knowledge of your audiences. You are always talking about WordPress and about how to do everything more efficiently. And what would you say about these audiences? Like 3 characteristics of these people that is watching you because of your WordPress knowledge.
I think I'm always going to be a huge advocate for beginners, because that's kind of that's my kind of experience over 10 years. And I see a lot of talk in the WordPress community about WordPress should just be for professionals, and just strongly disagree with. So I'm sort of really passionate about, a piece of video content. I think a lot of people make the mistake of trying to look intelligent in terms of presenting themselves as intelligent on YouTube. And actually, I think the trick is to try and make your audience feel intelligent rather than you come across as intelligent. So it's about, I always try and put myself in the audience seat and think about them rather than what I'm going to be saying. So I'm obsessed around trying to make the content as simple and digestible as possible. Because I don't think nobody will ever hate you for creating content that's easy to understand. Even if they're an expert, they'll still appreciate content that's explained incredibly simply. I'm not sure I've answered your question at all, but that's kind of how I think about my audience. And obviously I've trained 5,000 people face to face, and that's within that range. There has been complete beginners, like they've literally never seen WordPress before, they don't know what it does, to at the end of the scale, I've trained agencies who are looking to start to use WordPress. They're moving from different platforms, so I kind of understand naturally that range of non-technical and technical people, and hopefully kind of the bridge between those two in terms of some of my video content. I think it should be able to be digested by all of them, really. It obviously won't all be relevant to everyone in that spectrum, but if it's kind of like interesting content, then I think it can be, really. So yeah, does that answer your question at all? That's kind of how I think about the audience.
Yeah, well, yes, I want to know a little bit about your audience. You are addressing your content to beginners, first of all. That's what you were telling me. And to people that doesn't know anything about WordPress.
Yeah, partly, but also people that, like, I meet people with my content on all parts of their journey. They can be complete beginners, but they can be intermediates, and they can also be experts. And people naturally go through that journey when they're, you naturally go through that journey, as we all do. when we're learning something, you start off as a beginner and you go through that journey. At the end of it, you're some kind of expert, or you're making a living out of doing it. And so I think my content is definitely aimed at all those sorts of people. I'll do some content that's quite developer centric, but then some content that's quite developer centric, but try and do it in a way that it would be an enjoyable watch for. I think you can make it, you can make it enjoyable. Like a developer can enjoy some content that's simple to understand if the thing that you're teaching them is a cool thing. Like I did this one video where there was like this beautiful sort of, I don't know how to describe it, almost like a fake parallax using the cover block once. It was just a beautiful visual effect. And a beginner could use that, but a developer could, and I've seen developers have used that on sites as well. So I think you can talk to, not all the time, but I think you can talk to both ends of the spectrum if you pitch it right. My kind of philosophy, also the other philosophy that underpins a lot of my content is, and this again is born out of me teaching thousands of people. A lot of the people that came on my training courses were coming either, I'm going to be very reductive, but either they were coming to learn WordPress for the first time, or they had a website built in WordPress and it had been built in such a bad way by the agency or developer that they couldn't manage it. It was like untenable. So I've got a strong seam in my DNA that wants to teach people the right way to build WordPress. So they can manage their sites in 6 months' time or a year's time and change it really easily. And typically what that means for me is sticking to core as much as possible. So one of the huge mistakes I've seen in lots of sites is over engineering. So an agency will build a pretty simple brochure website, but they'll do it in such a complex way that the customer that's living with the website can't change it without going back to the agency and paying them money to change it. So that's been another thread throughout a lot of the video content that I try and make. I always try and make content that sticks as closely to core WordPress as possible, because I'm very cognizant that we want people to have a good experience of WordPress, and we want them not to have technical debt down the road so they can make the changes very easily. So that's kind of another kind of stream that runs through all my recent video content. I try and make it as easy in the future for people to use WordPress as possible. So try and make the right technical decisions up front, because my background before WordPress and Poodlepress was in selling quite complex corporate software solutions into enterprises, and so I've kind of understand technical debt deeply in the enterprise market, and I see a lot of historically I've seen a lot of kind of bad decision making by agencies and developers who have built sites for clients and not really thought about the client properly in terms of what they're going to be doing with their website in a year, 2 years time. If that makes sense.
Yes. The reason why I'm asking you about your audiences is because one of the most important things when doing content strategy, which is what you are doing, is the knowledge you have of the people you are talking to.
Yeah.
And in your case, you have that experience of teaching people, so you know what they need. And also in Poodlepress, you were building plugins. Sorry.
Yeah.
So that also teach you what they need as arts. So that's what I was asking you. It's not just that you started building, like doing videos, is that you know who are you talking to and what do you have to tell them, because you know what they need.
Yeah, and the plugins point, the plugins point is a brilliant point, because I was doing support every day, on Help Scout, and I was answering all the support tickets. And we mostly made our money out of WooCommerce add-ons. I mean, we did other plugins as well, but they were kind of our meat and drink. So I also have a deep knowledge of WooCommerce, because I was literally answering support questions every day around WooCommerce, and often those questions would be about WooCommerce, not necessarily our plugins and Gutenberg. So you kind of it's funny, isn't it? In life, you kind of take for granted a lot of things, but looking back, training 5,000 people, having thousands of people using our plugins, you just naturally absorb all this information that's just now, without me really having to think, I don't really have to think about the end users, because I know them. I've been talking to them for 10 years.
Exactly.
You know, I have them in my, they are part of my, bloodstream. I have answered their support tickets while walking on a beach and up a mountain and all sorts of strange places. I've had thousands of conversations with thousands of WordPress users, which actually your point about plugins is, I haven't really thought about the plugin bit at all. So that's a really, I'm going to start talking about that more. That's a really great point. You know, all these conversations that you have are just incredibly valuable. And if you don't have those, then you're having to do it almost in the dark. You're having to do it through surveys and kind of ask people. And whereas if you just have that in you, it's kind of like, it's a great thing, actually. So thank you for that.
And when did you start using WordPress?
I don't know, about 50, a long time ago, 16 years ago, 17 years ago. I was working at I was running a publishing company at the time. It wasn't my publishing company. It was part of a group of publishing companies, but I was in one of them, and we were using a CMS called Electron, which I think is still around, which was a Microsoft.NET application, and it was commercial, so it's about $5,000 per site per license. And I had a team of developers that were developing on top of it for our publishing tools. We had online publishing, some directory businesses where we sold listings, and it was a commercial enterprise. But anyway, it was quite slow, and I don't know how, but I just discovered WordPress one weekend in this room, actually, and got it up and running. I thought that was cool. And then I was starting to sort of, I think we had plugins back then in WordPress. I'm sure we did. And then I started to sort of kind of just unpeel the onion and realize I was building stuff in a weekend that was literally taking my developers months to do on this different system. So I thought, well, that's an interesting, and this other system was very expensive, whereas I was building this stuff for free in WordPress. It's like, well, that's incredible. And they were very, very sniffy about WordPress. They were very anti it because they were kind of pure .NET object orientated, and they didn't, PHP was a bit of a, they very much looked down on it. So they were very sniffy about it. But again, I was able to demonstrate how I built this thing and it's taking you guys months. So that's kind of when I first discovered it. And then it just kind of grew from there, really. And I actually managed to start using it in different parts of the business. For certain websites as well. So that's when my love of it kind of grew up a long time ago. So I've been involved with it for a long time.
And well, now you are head of YouTube.
Yeah.
For Automattic.
Yeah.
So now you brought all this experience into this big company, which is Automattic.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit what strategy were you focusing on when you started working with WordPress?
Do you mean in Automattic?
Yes.
It's I mean, a few things. One is the scale of Automattic is vast, so that's incredible. When it's your own business, it's great because you can make all the decisions. But when it's an organization like Automattic, the scale's enormous. So you're playing on a much bigger pitch, which is fantastic. And we're also in terms of video content across the piece. It's not just YouTube, but it's video content across all of Automattic. And Automattic is a really interesting organization. You can basically, I mean, I have certain things that I'm very much focused on, but things spring up all the time that need attention and are creatively interesting. For example, paid ads, like we do some paid ads in Automattic, and we're trying to look at that and get better at it. And we have a video component to paid ads now. So that's really it's a really fascinating, for a YouTuber like me, that's a fascinating place to play because it is about storytelling and it's about good video content. But the beauty about paid ads is you get, and this is where you're on YouTube and you see an advert and you click on it and you buy something. That's what we're talking about here, or on Instagram or on Facebook. What's beautiful about it is for a video creator like me is you get instant feedback. So if you run an ad on YouTube, you know whether it's working from the data, from the people that are buying then the hosting package or whatever it is. So it's a brilliant place to play because we're growing the YouTube channel and creating lots of good YouTube content, which will drive traffic in terms of perception. But then we've got some really direct stuff in terms of the video content we're creating in paid ads. So there's all sorts of, what I'm trying to say is there's all sorts of places where you can get involved in Automattic, and video content is just becoming more and more and more important around what we're all doing. So it's an incredible place to experiment. And also then you've got things like AI video gen that are starting to spring up now as well, which is something we're looking at, which is fascinating, where you can use tools like Google VO and Google Flow and 11 Labs and Runway. So I'm passionate about AI video as well. I think that's going to be a really interesting space to play. So yeah, there's Automattic is, it's WooCommerce, it's WordPress.com, it's Beeper, it's Day One Journal. It's all these, we've got lots and lots of products within the portfolio that have elements of video content in them. Some on YouTube, some not on YouTube. So again, I haven't answered your question, but it's a very broad, there's lots of opportunities for creative video storytelling around Automattic.
Yes, for example, for Automattic, for the YouTube, for WordPress right now in YouTube, what metrics do you care the most when you are deciding if your campaign was successful?
So one of the things I'm trying to instill, like a sort of high level within Automattic, before I answer your question again, one of the really fascinating things about Automattic as a business is it's got this incredibly talented pool of people, and some of those people you will all know, like Nick Diego and Ryan Welcher and Jonathan Bossinger and Rich Tabor and Matt Mullenweg and Matthias Ventura. We've got these and James LePage. One of the best things about the business is the people, and internally there's a huge amount of sharing in terms of content, like a huge amount. Like you wouldn't believe how much sharing. It's part of the ethos of the company. But historically, externally, it's been quite quiet in terms of our video content. You haven't seen a huge amount going out on the YouTube channel. So one of the big challenges I've set myself is to try and reverse that culturally, and that is encouraging and helping folks to create video content. So if you go on the WordPress.com YouTube channel today, you'll see we're starting that journey. We're starting to create much more video content that is created not by me. I mean, I've got some on there, but really what I want to see is the talent within the business creating the video content, because they should be the voice of the business. They are the asset of the business. They should be the brand of the business, in my view. And so that's kind of the high level what I'm trying to culture. I think once you change the culture in an organization, that their first thought is when they discover something exciting, their first thought is, how can I share this externally, and how can I share it in the best possible way so it gets the most traction? That naturally reflects back on the incredible work that's going on within Automattic already. It's not like we have to make this stuff up. It's already happening. It's just we're not really exposing it to the world. So culturally, that's the kind of first thing I wanted to, that's my high level target. Within that, you have the execution of making better videos, getting views, getting traction. And within that, for me, and again, if you look historically back on certain channels, if you can get people commenting, I mean, this is for me personally, I'm talking about, if you can get people commenting and people liking, that for me is like the first sign that you're getting engagement, rather than millions of views. For me personally, it's like that is this video is starting to have an emotional engagement with the person watching it, and they're starting it's had an effect on them. So it's not for me, that's not a tool. I've heard some people describe it as vanity metrics. For me, that's the key stuff. That's the gold dust. When you get people commenting and liking your videos and sharing them around, sharing them on socials, that means you're making content that people care about, and that's really hard. I mean, it's really people like, and they really care about it, and that's so hard. I mean, I think it's really hard to make content, and it's really, really hard to make content that resonates with people. It's very easy these days. It's never been easier to create content, like with AI and all these tools that make it, but actually thoughtful, considered content that people has an impact on them. And I think that's, and the other thing you find out about that is when people walk up to you, like at WordCamps, and talk to you. And I get that as well. And people will explain, they'll say, I've had this a lot where people say your video made me take a chance on block themes or made me use Gutenberg. And that's like, change, start business. That for me is like, if you get that stuff right, then the views take care of themselves, in my experience, but you've got to get the likes and the comments are the sign for me that people care about your content. Yeah. And I think, sorry, one more thing. I think if you don't love the content, if you're not excited by the content, like genuinely love it and excited to make this video, then I think that probably won't happen for you, which is why a lot of brands struggle with it. And so for me, that again comes back to the people. The people in Automattic deeply care around the work they do, and it's around helping them share that in the best possible way.
Yeah, one of the nice things that you do in your content is that you have very different formats for sharing from a different perspective the knowledge. And I really liked one that you do, which is the speed builder challenge.
Oh yeah, that was fun. Yeah,
you started this by yourself. You were making webs, replying webs like apple.com.
Yeah.
And then how did you start, or how did you switch? Because you started by yourself and then you came with a challenge with two competitors.
Yeah,
that idea came to you?
It came, as often they do, these ideas just sort of spring into your head. So I have a lot of ideas generally naturally. I do have a lot of ideas as a person. I don't struggle with ideas. I have more ideas than I can execute on, which is always a bit of a sadness. But yeah, it just came to me one morning, and I've been creating these videos where I try and recreate a famous website in 30 minutes. It was just me doing it, but I'd edited it, so they ended up about 7 minutes. So they're quite short and punchy. I thought actually it'd be really fun if you got two people side by side. They didn't know what site they were going to build, and I just show them the site and they say, right, you've got 30 minutes to do it. Off you go. They can use whatever tools they like. So I approached two good friends of mine, Brian Cords and Mike McAllister, and sort of pleaded with them, bribed them, cajoled them. And you have to do a lot of this sort of stuff to get this stuff off the ground, to come on the first one, because it's high risk for them, because for somebody taking part, there's a lot of jeopardy. Like you could end up looking quite foolish. So massive respect to anybody that ever comes on a speed build. And they agreed to do the first one. Had no idea how it was going to go, but they were amazing. And then from there, once I got those two people, they were the key people because they're highly respected in the WordPress space. Then I could go to other people and say, well, Brian's done it and Mike's done it. Do you want to do it? And there's always a bit of reluctance and a bit of hesitation, a bit of fear. But then I got the next bunch and the next bunch and the next bunch. And then it ended up being at WordCamp Europe at Torino, which was Rich Tabor and Jessica Lyshik. And they did amazing. That was just such a thrilling session. It was brilliant. It was so brilliant. It was like 5 o'clock at night and the room was packed and they were just wonderful. Again, we didn't really know what was going to happen. And then I ended up doing one in Manila at WordCamp Asia, and also WordCamp US as well. And more on my YouTube channel as well. And we got Matt Mullenweg, the co-founder of WordPress, to do one last Christmas as well. So I kind of paused them recently, but they'll be coming back. But they're a really fun format, and people, they're not intended as a purist way of building websites, but people they do learn a lot because it's like a fun way to get information across. So, just by watching somebody build quickly is a good way to learn how other people might approach similar tasks. So even though some people have criticized it for not being the most purest way to build websites, which is absolutely right, people do get good learning out of it and has spread the word of WordPress. So yeah, that's been a really fun format. I'm going to bring it back a bit more, probably with more AI as we go forward as well, because I think that's kind of how a lot of people are building these days.
Yeah. Well, thank you I want to mention as well that you came to Valencia and you presenting the format, and everybody was very excited because you brought the format to WordCamps, You were mentioned that already. They work on Europe, work on Asia, and work on Valencia. So thank you very much for coming.
Yeah, it was great.
And sharing with us.
Yeah, Valencia was beautiful, and the venue was incredible. So thank you for inviting me there. It was great. It was a great day.
Yeah. I saw that you are an artist as well.
Yeah,
because I saw your website where you have sketches and photograph and draws.
Yeah, artist is probably pushing it a bit, but yeah, I've always drawn and I've always painted, and I play a lot of music. I'm in a band, and so kind of the creative side of me is quite strong, I suppose. So another reason why I love WordPress, because of the creative freedom it gives you. So yeah.
Maybe communication is related to art, right? In some sense. So
yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Something that is really nice about that format is also that you could see the evolution of how you implement websites right now. Because at the beginning, they were building the website in a way, and now they are using artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
So you can see like how this technology is coming into the website, into WordPress, and it's really interesting. I want to comment on a video you did 2 years ago. It was called I Lessons and WordPress with Jamie Marsland. You did this for Human Made.
Right.
And in there, you were, that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You were explaining a series of interviews you did with people like Chris Lema, Matt Mullinger, Suhai Pyre, and Jus Ban. And then at the end, you did 3 predictions for WordPress and artificial intelligence. And I would like to talk about those predictions. I can read them for you.
Yeah.
And I would like to know, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm worried about this.
Later.
I imagine I was right. So let's crack on. Yeah.
Number 1 was iBottle move upstream.
Yeah.
Number 2, content becomes dynamic and intelligent.
Yeah.
And number 3, authentic content and brand become even more important. Yeah. So now that 2 years has passed, what do you think about your predictions?
Well, shall I give myself a score? I'll go through each one and give myself a score out of 10, shall I? How about that? So AI battle moves upstream, where the customers first interact with WP in hosting. Well, I'll give myself, I think I'll give myself 9 out of 10, because we're seeing a lot of hosting companies are implementing AI as part of the kind of application layer. For example, WordPress.com has an AI builder now. So you can go onto WordPress.com and you can literally chat to the AI builder and it'll build you a website pretty quickly using block themes. It's pretty cool and getting cool all the time. Hostingo have the same thing. A lot of hosting companies are implementing their own versions of AI website builders, which are basically layers on top of WordPress. So I think I was pretty much 100% right. I thought that was pretty good. Number 2, AI content becomes dynamic and intelligent. It hasn't really happened, honestly. I mean, it has a bit. So I think we're seeing what's happening at the moment in terms of work. And if we're talking specifically around WordPress, we're seeing a lot of the plumbing done. So recently 6.9 came out and we've got things like the Abilities API and we've got some other APIs around AI. They're the plumbing. I guess the next step will be, this will be the manifestation of that plumbing, where websites will become more dynamic and more personalized, and they'll naturally adapt themselves to you. So I'm not wrong on that. It just hasn't happened probably as quickly as I thought it was going to happen. So I don't know. I'm 7 out of 10. And then number 3, authentic content and brand become even more important. Yeah, 100%. I think that's spot on, isn't it? I mean, I think things like AI video gen, ChatGPT, authentic voices are becoming even more important. So yeah, that's 100% right. Well done, me. Do you agree with that? Do you agree with those, Lena?
I agree with those. And for prediction number 3, I also think that platforms are becoming more important. like YouTube, like social media,
Yeah.
because now you don't centralize the information in one search engine, so it's difficult to find websites, and people is going to other type of um for example ChatGPT to find what they need, and then you get the websites
Yeah.
from there. Is different, so you have less access to the websites. I don't know what is going to happen, because I think we will have a huge decrease on websites building. What do you think about that?
I don't know. Honestly, I every day I have a slightly different view on this. So I've come to the conclusion that I don't know. I think that's probably the place I've landed at the moment. Some days I'm thinking the open web is gone and there'll just be this big centralized AI brain that we'll go to. And then other days I think that's nonsense. And actually there's going to be the opposite effect. There's never going to be more requirement for the open web, and we're going to see a burgeoning of that. So I don't honestly, it's not a brilliant answer, but I don't know. I think only it's impossible to predict that one at the moment. I hope it doesn't happen, that closed systems become more and more powerful. I think that's part of part of that is we can decide that potentially. We can have some agency over that.
Yeah, we can decide, but we need to make the effort, to keep both, to keep open web and then to keep artificial intelligence, because they have to live at the same time. I think you
Yeah,
find different way, different
I do think with
information.
AI, there's a big opportunity to make the open web better. Like I think websites are going to get a lot better because of the AI tools that are coming our way. So the average website out there isn't particularly beautiful and brilliant, and the experience isn't very personalized, and it doesn't have any tools integrated in it. So one of the things that might happen, again, I don't know, is that websites, and I wrote about this a while ago, become appified. They become like little apps sitting there on the website, and the experiences become much richer, as opposed to just essentially what a lot of websites are at the moment are, we've replaced documents with electronic documents. I mean, they're just pages. Whereas actually, I think with AI, what is going to happen is websites will get much better, and they'll become more like apps, and there'll be more places. There'll be more reason for you to go and hang out at these places. So that might be where the open web starts to fight back against these closed down systems. But I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be a fascinating 5 years.
Yeah,
sure.
it's gonna be fascinating and a little bit scary.
Yeah,
No?
I think all technology shifts are scary. I think I'm mostly excited, but it could end up that the AI bots kill us all. But I'm hoping that's not going to be the case. I think more optimistic than that.
Do you use already artificial intelligence in your workflow, scripting, editing, idea generation?
Everything.
Everything. Yeah, you
All
need to
day,
be
every day.
faster.
Yeah, I use everything. ChatGPT for ideas and for helping me write scripts. I use Google Flow for AI video. I use Suno for AI music. I use every element of sort of my creative life. I'm using AI in some way to help. I just want it to be better, and I want to be able to talk to it. I want to have, to be able to talk to my designer over here and my coder over here and my marketing person over here. It's not, I'm frustrated that it's not where it's going to be in 5 years' time, because I would love that. I would love that now, where I could, have this idea and I can spin it up and I can take it off and launch it much more quick. I mean, it's pretty quick. Like I built lots of apps with tools like Lovable and Bolt, and I'm using Cursor a lot to build WordPress plugins, and Telex a lot to build WordPress blocks. I just like to be able to sit here and chat to it, a bit like Iron Man, where I can just talk to stuff and I have the ideas and I can sculpt them and craft them and off they go. But we're not quite there yet. But I'm excited about that future.
If WordPress site builders becomes heavily assisted by AI, what skill do you think will still differentiate a great implementer from a average one?
That's a great question. I think it'll vary depending on the nature of the website they're building. I do think we're going to reach a point where that's a very broad question, but so I'm going to be quite reductive on the answer. I don't see us messing around with not messing around, but I don't see most people interacting with blocks in the future. Like in 3 years' time, I think they'll be prompting it, and the AI will build. We won't even see Gutenberg. Probably it'll just be a kind of abstract layer underneath that we don't interact with at all, which we're starting to see already. But the skill will be the vision and the creative idea and the taste and the, you know, it's incredibly easy to create an AI article or an AI video, but the ones that get traction it'll still be the core taste, storytelling, idea, things that get traction, things that can get human emotion, that can connect with other people. I don't think that's not going to change just because of AI tooling. There'll be a huge amount of terrible AI content for sure, but the people that can use it, I don't think that'll change. The people that can still write well will understand what good writing looks like, even if they're using AI to create the writing. And I do think that a lot of people won't build with it. Like, I think in life there are builders and there are people that, you know, it's like on social media, there are people that are lurkers and people that are actually creating content. I don't think that's going to change with AI. I think there'll still be people that want to express and create and share, and there'll be people that won't, and that's absolutely fine. So again, I'm fairly optimistic. My daughter, who's at my middle daughter, I've got 3 daughters. My middle daughter, who's at film school, she's graduating this year. They all hate AI video generation. They hate it with a passion. They would never touch it. They would never use it. I'm trying to persuade her. She's got 2 jobs as well that she's you know, she's working incredibly hard just to fund her university education. She's amazing. And I'm telling her, go and start an AI video company. There's never a better time. The tooling's almost here. You understand filmmaking. You understand storytelling. There's a big market for it. People are creating it, like Coca-Cola, and, you know, other people are creating AI video ads now. But she won't have it. She won't listen. She's completely anti it. So yeah, it's going to be.
She's an artist. That's why she wants to do it herself.
She does. Yeah, she's got ethical issues with it. But I'm like, well, you could either work in a pub or a cafe earning minimum wage, or a group of your friends could go off and start a company for £20 and start earning £30,000 for a AI video. And that could fund your travel, because she wants to go traveling next year when she graduates. That could fund your traveling, literally. But she's just like, nope, it's not a craft. So there's a whole generation of film school students that are, and you know, good on them in a way. But it's my view, anyways. It's a huge opportunity for them. If, you know, for people that understand, a bit like coding AI is an opportunity for people that understand how to code, because when they use the tools, they know what they're doing. Likewise, AI video generation is a huge opportunity if you've gone to film school, because you understand how to tell stories through film, how to structure stories, camera angles, all that stuff. But I can't persuade her whatever I try. She's not having it. Maybe
time and she will have to.
Well, I think so, yeah. But I think the opportunity is so big now for somebody in that space, because companies are going to be looking for.
Yes, they are already.
They are already.
For people, yes.
100%. Yeah, and the tooling's pretty much there now that you can do it. I mean, it's going to get a lot better next year, but it's pretty much, it's a little bit hard at the moment, but it's definitely, the quality's there.
Well, we're getting to the end. I'm going to have 3 quick fire wrap-up questions, which are: tell me a creator or educator inside of WordPress or outside of WordPress that inspires you.
Well, that's a great question. I'm going to go for Brian Cords. Do you know Brian?
Okay.
Yeah, because he's a brilliant writer. And I love a few things in life. I love brilliant writers, like proper writers, like really know the craft. I love brilliant illustrators. I love brilliant songwriters, not so much singers. I think songwriting's genius. But he's a brilliant writer, and I think he's the best writer in WordPress. So I'll go for him.
Now, the video you are proudest of, and why?
Okay, yeah, that's easy. I did a video about a year and a half ago, which was about Wix, and it's kind of, I can't remember what I called it. I called it something like Wix's master plan to kill WordPress. But it's not brilliant quality, but the storytelling is, I really spent days and days plotting the story. And I told the story about how they approached me. They wrote to me and wanted me to create some video content, sponsored video content. And I just told the story about that, but also part of that, I showed where they were in the market and how the story unfolded and why they were a threat and where WordPress was. And I knew I'd get, what I'm really proud about it is because I met a lot, naturally throughout the story, I met a lot of the objections that I knew that WordPress people would have because it was Wix. And I kind of answered those before they could shout at me in the comments. So that's the height of my video making, I think, in terms of storytelling. It was about storytelling. I think it was a really interesting video. And it had a lot of facts in it as well around what they were up to. So I think it was quite an interesting piece of content.
And if you weren't working with WordPress, what would you be doing?
Great question. I was talking to my wife about this the other day. I think, what did I say? Yeah, I would love to have been a political communication strategist. That's what I would absolutely, I think that would be an amazing job because I'm really political. I never ever talk about it publicly because I think nobody cares. And it also gets you in hot water. But I think that job, like I've always been a political junkie. Like when I was 15, I would go home early and watch news programs and stuff. And I think communications around politics is really just a fascinating space. So that's what I would love that as a career. I think that'd be brilliant.
Well, thank you very much, Jamie Marsland, for talking to me today. And is there something else you would like to say before saying goodbye?
Only that Valencia was beautiful. I haven't been there before, so it was a fantastic experience. So thank you for that. And yeah, that was lots of fun.
Thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for today. And well, let's then say goodbye. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.